Hello and welcome to the Real Agent Podcast. We're your hosts, Meray, Mary Jo, and Christina, offering a judgment-free space for collaboration over competition.
I love the head tilt.
Woo woo!
Amazing.
Was that good?
You were so good.
And I didn't even read it.
Yes.
What? So yeah,
I'm proud
Considering
of
you
you.
just ran in here like a bat out of hell, that was amazing.
Yeah. I just did a little bit of makeup. I'm good.
Yeah, I wish people could see the pre.
The mad dash before we get in
This is what
here.
it looks like 5 minutes before we go on.
Like this. Anyway.
So today it's just the three of us.
Yeah, we're just going to have a little chat about the market, things that you might be thinking about or questions you might have.
Yeah. And look, we've put together some questions that people have asked us over the last few weeks. So I thought we would just discuss them openly with each other. So one of the first ones is, as everybody is seeing, I'm sure over social media, how many multiple offer situations that are happening now. 85 yesterday, I read.
Where?
In Mississauga.
Oh, what?
Yeah, there
I
was
didn't see
80. Yeah, there was 80. It was
85 different multiple
Was it
offer
listed at
situations?
No, 85 people for one house.
Where? In Mississauga?
In Mississauga, it was a semi.
Wow.
It was listed for the price that they bought it at in 2017.
Okay.
They had over 260 showings, and they had 85 offers yesterday.
Wow.
Do you know what it went for?
I do not know what it went for. Of course, not yet.
No.
But it went over asking, of course. I think from what I was reading and what I was seeing online, like what the actual price is probably closer to 1.1, but they listed it at 749 to make it a frenzy. So I don't know what that actually means for anybody. Like, I don't know if that
It's not really an accurate kind of comparison just because when you underlist a property so much, it's not a really good indication of anything. Like if any market, I would think if you list a property like half of what it's worth, you're going to get some kind of a frenzy.
But
that's the whole point.
Yeah, like, but what
Yeah,
is
that's the point.
Okay, the listing agent, we know what they're doing. They're working in the best interest of that client. They're getting as many people.
Sorry. It's hot over here.
85 offers. It's like, oh my God, we're not sleeping for months. That's
You see
how
me
the market
sweating right now?
No.
Imagine that spreadsheet that you'd have to put together to
I do not want to do that.
No,
Honestly, I'd be like, if you're not even close to this mark, don't even bother.
Yeah.
Like,
But do you really want 85 offers on a property? Like, that's too much.
but would you even go in it? Like me as an agent,
I
if
would
I know there's
never.
85 offers, I don't think I'd even attempt it.
No.
Well, the thing is like there was one saying that people were saying that was like, oh, 82 offers. So you're saying there's a chance.
Oh my God.
Like-
That's amazing.
What do you
Like,
say to your
what do you
client
say?
at that point? It's like, okay, you're number 81. Like it's just so ridiculous.
I
Yeah.
do wonder how they had the offers registered, because I do know that, like, this particular person, they don't let you register them on your own. So I wonder how, like, they keep them in batches, and then all of a sudden there's 20 offers registered rather than, like, one at a time being presented.
But now with Tressa, the seller has the option of saying open bidding,
Yeah.
right? But they would have to do written consent, I guess, to everybody.
Yes.
So how would you manage that with 85?
I definitely
Like,
don't
hey,
think
I'm
You
going to send
don't.
a
You
blast email
can't.
out to everybody and say, hey, I'm going to, you give me permission to share your offer. Like, how does it work?
I don't think anybody
It's
was
just a
sharing
recipe
anything.
for disaster.
But the buying agent, like, when someone brings you that offer, do you not just? But I am noticing a lot of people are coming out now, like, let's just see, let's go out and see what's available.
Yes.
And that's a lot of the feedback I'm getting on my own listings. Like, oh, we're just starting to go out. So the showings don't really indicate anything.
Yeah.
But those 85 people, like, what comps were they using to think that
Are you
unless
still
they were-
thinking you're getting a deal?
Yeah.
Like what?
I think they are thinking that right now. And
Yeah.
and
And maybe they may.
I
in
bet you
comparison.
probably 90% of those offers were low balls.
For
Like, they were
sure.
probably not even anywhere close to what it ended up selling for.
Yeah.
There's probably like maybe 3 that were reasonable, I would
Yeah.
think.
I just feel bad for that agent who has to field those calls. Like that would have to all be by email. There's no way.
You can't feel bad for them. They created it.
That's true. Like, you can't complain
Yeah.
about the
Yeah. No, you can't feel bad.
It seems like the market picked up generally the same way it normally does every year. Though.
It's-
Like,
yeah,
I thought it
this
would be
is-
different.
This is normal.
Yeah, but it's like the third week of January. We're seeing the same thing we saw last year, and I thought maybe it's because of the two what is it, 3 rate holds now?
Well, they haven't gone up since the summer.
Yeah. I think buyers are definitely more confident.
Mhm.
And I just feel like the only real difference is the buyers are out there and they're starting to feel more confident, but there's still a lot of insecurity. There's still a lot of maybe later. Like even our last listing that we sold with two offers, we were not even holding back.
We didn't even hold back, yeah.
But for about 8 days, we had 3 people talking offers and nobody's coming to the table.
Yeah.
And then finally somebody comes to the table, and then the other one from the beginning of the week then decided to join.
They only want it
bid.
if somebody else wants it, though.
Yes, but that's the psychology of
I
it. This
know.
is the human nature psychology. So if we can talk to our buyers and just talk to them about that psychology and just say, don't be those people that just want something because everybody else does.
Yeah, you should be going against the grain right now.
Yeah.
Like, buy because nobody else is buying. Don't wait for
Exactly.
everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. You can get really good deals. Our clients did get a really amazing deal, but we made a move. We didn't just wait for somebody else to want it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, most people that make money in these types of markets are the ones that are running towards it when everybody's running away from it.
Exactly.
And if they can't, they probably could see that this is not going to last forever. And maybe at this time, this is actually the bottom. Because in December, that was the bottom. Or even
yeah.
November. Like some of the prices that I was seeing, I was like, that's an amazing price for that
I
house.
know. I
Yeah.
know. It was like there's a few houses I wanted to buy.
I know. I think it's still iffy though. Like the whole pricing strategy, it's not a for sure thing to hold back offers.
It's not.
No.
Like you almost have to give people an option. It's like, okay, here's the strategies that we can do.
Yeah.
Either you can price it high, price it at market value, or underlist it.
Exactly.
Right, pretty much. And then just say, look, give them the full education on.
Yeah, like what are the pros and cons for each process?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's their intention, right? Like for us, what we start to do now is as soon as somebody talks to us about selling, we first ask them, what is your intention? Like what is
What's the
is there an
motivation?
urgency? Is there the motivation? Is there like what if we can't sell it? What will happen then? Like how important is it to sell?
What's your timeline?
Because in some cases you can list it a little bit higher and just wait if they're not in a rush.
Yeah.
But that could also backfire as well. So it's the pricing right now is super important. So it's a dance, you know. We kind of go back and forth.
Everything's a dance.
Everything's
for
a
you.
dance.
Everything's a dance.
Life is a dance.
It's always a dance. I'm like, I think I've heard you use that analogy in almost everything. It's a dance.
Well,
It is.
negotiations is totally a dance.
It's
Yeah.
a dance. Yeah.
Totally.
It's like the tango.
Sidestep. I'm going to sidestep that one.
Sometimes you sit on the sidelines because you don't like the song.
Yeah.
And you just go to the side and you're like, well, just wait until the next one.
Let's waltz this
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Can it just be like a bachata?
Yeah.
So much more sexy.
That depends on who's on the other side of the table.
True.
You know, if you want a bachata with just everybody.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
good point.
more of a
Touche.
sensual dance. I don't know if you want to.
I know, it's
I'm
true.
like Googling
How many agents are there in this city?
I wasn't talking about doing it with the agents. I mean, with yourself, you know, like when you're feeling yourself.
What?
Okay. Gutter brain over here. Back to real estate.
Yes. Back to the real agent.
Oh
See,
my
this is
gosh.
what the real agent is
This
all
is
about.
real.
Yes.
Yeah, this is actually how we
Yes.
behave
Yes.
when no one else is around.
Yeah, no guests today.
Yeah.
So one thing that the two of you have talked about with me is that you find that your clients you're having more people ask you about selling their property, like their family estates. So for me, that I don't really deal with estates as often, what's your ideal advice for somebody that's going into that process? What do you tell them to
Yeah.
start out with?
Lots of people are dying.
Yeah, the demographic
You
is
told me
changing.
not to say it like that.
I said it. I was like, you don't need to be that morbid about it, but she missed that part.
I missed that part. I was parking.
It's true. The demographic is changing. Like we are seeing a lot of turnover. There's a lot of people. I know. I'm trying to bring it back here. I'm trying to bring it back.
Oh my God. It seems like our relationship is always you trying to bring it back.
I'm trying to bring it back to something a little less. Yeah.
So okay, what is your first step?
We get a lot of estate sales, and we are seeing a lot of parents, you know, getting into that age where they're starting to pass away, and then the siblings are having to deal with the estate. And I think what we would suggest to people, first of all, is try and deal with that before that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it a lot easier. Like, as things
Yeah.
still have to go through probate, and that can take a few months, and it can be very stressful
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people. But we're dealing with one right now. That's
Yeah, we
very,
just went yesterday. It was
Yeah.
actually a really sad situation. He
Very-
was only 39.
yeah, very sad situation. I mean, it always is sad, but
Yeah.
first thing is you have to go in, you have to see the property. Generally, we try and help people clean it out because that's a very emotional process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most people don't really want to be involved in that because it can be very
What
sad.
paperwork should people have ready before they talk to you guys?
Often they don't have it ready.
Yeah.
but
So what would be the first suggestion to somebody if they don't?
they
have
need to go through probate
Yeah, they have to go
because
through.
it's a very time consuming process. And like, we have one that we started last year, and we still haven't put it on the market because it literally has taken a year for them to get their paperwork done. So and
What
there
are
could
the
be a lot
hurdles sometimes with probate?
If
will
people are not agreeing, like if
Mm.
the people involved don't agree,
yeah, the
if
will.
there's no will.
If
yeah.
there's
Yeah,
no will.
If there's no will, it's a nightmare. But even
Yeah.
if there is a will, are people contesting the will? And are
That's
you know,
right. Yeah.
there's a lot. I mean,
Mhm.
generally we leave that to the lawyers.
Got it.
We work with a really good lawyer that deals with them mostly.
Leslie Robinson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and so for us what works is because we're kind of a turnkey operation. We can just take over from the start and
Mhm.
just help them throughout the whole process. Emotionally it's tough, so we
Mhm.
can manage that. We can go and get it cleaned out. We've even sold things for people.
during the probate process. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes we'll get it started. If we know the market is hot,
Yeah.
then what we'll do is we'll just put a clause in the offer stating that they know that probate, it's still going through probate and the closing may change.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as the buyer knows that and agrees with it, then it's fine.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes it's worth it to do that. We have done it that way because you don't want to miss the market.
Mm-hmm. So, as we go through the markets and we're finding that everything is always in ebbs and flows, let's talk about pre-construction, because I feel like, during the pandemic, a lot of people were gung-ho. Pre-construction was a place where people were definitely advising their clients to go. Now that we're on the other side of it, how are you helping your clients that have purchased pre-construction and that may be finding themselves a little bit stressed that maybe what they've purchased won't appraise? What's your initial conversations with those
I
clients?
don't know if it's about appraisal so much as qualifying for a mortgage, right? Because now, if the deal's going through, let's say this year,
Well,
they
it's probably both of them. Like, okay, can we qualify? Will it even appraise? And do we have
at the price that they purchased it for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
fair.
let's talk about the well. Like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
well is it.
Well,
People
we
are
can
getting
even speak
hammered.
from a personal
Yeah, from a
perspective.
personal-
We have also invested in
Yeah.
pre-construction, so
yeah.
it's just a waiting game at this point. Some builders are doing really well, and some are not. So,
Well, some found them in some pretty precarious situations. And
yeah.
I mean, nobody expected to happen what happened to happen,
No.
right? Like, to
No.
see that
Everybody's
many
gonna
rate
move
hikes.
differently moving forward.
And like, land is financed completely differently, obviously, than residential.
Mhm.
So
Right.
people who finance their land at one rate, let's say
Yeah.
at
And it's all
2%.
variable.
Exactly. So, I mean,
it's a huge hit for
yeah.
builders. And so with our clients, we're just trying to just say we have to wait it out. It's still a good investment because you're still buying, lower than what you would once it's built, right? So it's always still a good investment. The only thing is, the timing. One, is it even going to be built? And do they get their money back, their deposits back?
They are going to, I mean, I think
They're gonna get their
they're going to get the
deposits
deposits back. But I think pre-construction is becoming more for people who can't actually buy resale. That's what I'm seeing. It's like,
Mhm.
I can't get into the market now, so pre-construction is still a very good, viable option because I don't have to get a mortgage right now. I can wait the 4 years and hopefully rates will come
Absolutely.
back
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
to something a bit more reasonable.
That's definitely the bright side of it for sure.
Yeah. On the other side,
Yeah.
if you bought something 4 years ago and you're closing now, or you closed last year, or we saw so many assignments come out.
Oh yeah.
Like, so many. So it's actually cheaper to buy something on assignment than it was to buy in pre-construction.
I love buying on assignment.
Mhm.
I encourage it. But a lot of agents don't because they don't know how to deal with assignments.
It's more complicated for
Mhm.
sure, and having a good lawyer
Yeah,
to
for
help.
sure.
And you have to be
Help.
more liquid than most.
Mhm.
That's the other thing that
Yes.
people think about.
Yeah.
Like, you do need that extra capital, even if they're buying at a loss, then of
Mhm.
course you just need the deposits and whatnot. But if you have to make up that difference, a lot of people don't realize that, you do need
It's significant. It's
Yeah.
a significant upfront cost.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But if you're buying it likely you're buying it from the value from 4 years ago, which could be really good.
Exactly.
Like we've
because
sold
they
a
just
few of
wanna
them
go.
that way where people have done very, very well. And it's unfortunate that they're benefiting off of somebody else, but that's
Yeah.
the way it is.
I'm even seeing, well, now it's even scarier. Sometimes you see the headlines where people are selling it at a loss and it's still not enough. Where
Yeah.
it's like, how do you, like, that
What-
people are just going into.
They have to walk away.
They walk away. Oh, and another thing I've been hearing is that these condos that are closing, people close on them, get an occupancy, but then they can't qualify for the mortgage. So then there's renters in the units and now the builders can't get them out.
Oh,
Yeah, that's been happening where,
oh,
you know,
wow.
an owner, let's say, pays their final deposit, but you don't have your mortgage yet. So
Yeah.
during occupancy, they've rented them out, end up not being able to get a mortgage for whatever reason, and now the builders have tenants in their units.
Oh, we should look into that a bit more because I'm curious what would be the recourse there.
They'd have to go to the landlord and tenant board. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah, I've had a
And
couple
they have
people
to pay
ask
the
me about
HST
that.
on the unit.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Yeah, the builder has to pay the HST on the unit.
So people don't rent out your
Well,
So the builder's
you don't really have a
probably
choice
suing
though,
you.
right? Because the
Yeah.
occupancy fees can be so high.
Yeah.
Like most
Yeah.
people, that's what you do. Like we've all bought pre-construction. The first thing you do is
For
put
sure.
a renter in there
Yeah.
because your occupancy. Like when I bought my place at the
Mhm.
shops at Don Mills, my occupancy fees were $3,500 a month. So I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to pay that, and it could be 6 months to a year before you
The
actually.
interest is like 7% from some of these
Register.
occupancy fees that they're paying the builder.
Mhm.
And they're paying them for a lot longer now because if it's a dual building, like if it's, you know, one building's built
phase
before
one,
the,
phase two.
phase one is still paying occupancy fee until phase two is ready.
Yeah,
And so you could be paying for over a year
yeah.
money to just this builder that you've already spent all this money for.
Which is why you want to put a tenant in there. Otherwise, you're
Exactly.
going to be paying. And I mean, the occupancy fees are made up of the builder's mortgage, their maintenance fees, taxes, all that stuff.
Maintenance fees of things that you're not using.
Basically, yeah,
Yeah.
you're living in a construction zone for a year.
I
But-
always thought it was cheaper in the beginning. It was at one
It
point. It was
was. It
cheaper.
used to be a lot
and
cheaper.
the owners would make some money in that first few months before the mortgages would kick in.
Yeah,
And then
it's changed a little bit since. I
it's
like any
really-
pre-construction I bought 10 years ago, I did amazing on.
Mhm.
But now it's a different scenario.
Anybody I sold pre-construction to 10 years ago have done amazing
Yeah.
things with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the market, right? Like it's always like this. It's up and down. So you just have to wait it out.
Nobody would have guessed what was going to happen at this point, right? And it's not something that anybody saw coming, and also probably not something that's going to happen again for a very long time. So it's just a matter of getting through this period as best as you can with as little, impact as possible. Yeah, of course, still renting it out is going to be your best option. It's going to be like the chances of you getting a deadbeat tenant in there is, less than losing all that money, right?
Yeah.
For not renting it out. It doesn't
I
make
think
sense.
the idea now is real estate is something you hang on to more than flipping.
Well, yeah, there's no flipping right now.
Yeah, but
No.
I think we had somebody on who spoke about that before. Like before, it used to always be just you would have real estate for a few years. It wasn't something you flipped in 6 months to a year.
Right.
So
No, whenever I go into a meeting with somebody, it's like, how long are you going to own this? At least 5 years?
Yeah.
yeah,
At least one full mortgage term? Like, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Look how the market goes. It's literally like this every year.
how do you pre-qualify your buyers?
Well, we usually have a sit down. We talk about their needs and wants. Definitely ask them, pre-approval. And then we go through options like, do you want to live in a condo options, townhome options? And then usually we go out for the first time and we look at a few options. And it's always about asking tons of questions. How do you feel about this? What do you do? What is your daily routine like? What is your commute time for? Because sometimes it doesn't really matter all those things because their budget is their budget and you have to get them where they fit in. But most of the time I really try to dig down on what their real needs and wants are and if their budget can actually get them that. And then
But
I go
more
from-
often than not, and we've all gone through this, we find our buyers don't really know what they want.
No.
So how are we getting around that?
I go through the cost of everything in detail. So I'll break it down. Like this is going to be your mortgage payment, generally speaking. And then this is going to be, like, if it's a condo, the maintenance fee, the taxes, utilities, and then I even factor in things that they're just paying for in life, like their phone and all these other expenses, because often people don't do that. and then they get themselves in a situation where they're tight.
Mm-hmm.
So and then you work your way backward from there, and then you figure out what they can actually really afford.
And then where?
Pre-approving is one thing, and then you go to like showing them properties that are in that price point in different neighborhoods that have most of what their needs are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's better just to get into the market.
Yeah.
Even if it's somewhere that, it's not everything that you want, at least it's getting your foot in the door. This could be the only opportunity you have to do that.
I think that's the reality check that we've been having to give a lot of people. It's like they're looking for their dream home as their first purchase.
Exactly.
And like, since
time.
when?
No, it doesn't. My first condo was this tiny little place on McCall Street. It was old, 80s, and it was like,
Exactly.
Yeah, it was just like
a means to an end.
Yeah.
It was get in,
exactly.
pay my own mortgage instead of someone else's, and then move, and then you're going to move from there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see people now that, with not minimum, with $800,000 budgets, and then you show them what $800,000 is, and they're just like, oh, that's too small, or that's too this. And I'm like, I can't help you, because that's just how,
Exactly.
that's how it is out now. That that's entry level.
That is. Even back in those days, like my condo was all 80s. It was like the same counters from the 80s, the floors, everything was just the original. I literally went in there and spent, I think, $2,000. And then I did sell it 2 years later, and I made $60,000. Back in those days, it was pretty decent.
Very good money.
Yeah, for 2 years.
Yeah, people have gotten a little bit greedy, I think.
Yeah, but also cost of living has gone up so much. It makes sense as well that you need to make more money for it to make sense.
Yeah.
But I mean,
between all the taxes you pay, all and then if you want to buy another property, what that entails as well, and closing on it, for sure. There's just so many more fees that they have to think about.
Right.
Are you guys noticing anything with fraud lately?
Everything with fraud. Oh my
I
God.
know it's a very general question.
Lease documents
I'm
are
just
full of fraud.
because we have another guest coming on that's going to talk to us a lot about AI.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of curious because I don't use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I'm a laggard when it comes to that. I know you're very forward thinking. I don't know. I don't know if you.
I'm kind of in between. I've like experimented with it, but I'm still very skeptical.
Yeah.
I'm not trusting.
I'm very nervous about how well it gets to know you and what that means.
Yeah.
Because in the bigger picture.
Okay. For the
Let's-
example that we have, the other day we were all we were at having coffee together at that cafe, and then we were leaving, and then you showed me that photo of the three of us.
Yes.
Of us in the summertime. There was no reason for that photo to show up.
Yeah.
Like the three of us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't summertime. It wasn't a memory. That your phone was listening to the
That's
three of
so
us
creepy.
talk.
And how did your phone know that was us?
But how often do you get your phone
Well, it knows our
sending you ads
faces.
of stuff based on something
So
you've been talking about?
The phone is looking at
So
us?
if I go in this
Oh
and
my
I
God.
and it
It's
and
so
it,
creepy. Put them away, guys.
Yeah, like totally. And then the other day I was talking to Randy, and all of a sudden my phone was like spinning. And I'm like, why are you listening to me?
That's happened to us. Remember there was a check
Oh,
mark?
yeah, that was
We were
weird.
talking to each other and all of a sudden a thumbs up came on the
No,
screen.
no, I think that's a feature. That's a new feature, I think, because it happened to me with another
It
conversation.
happened to me with something else as well.
Yeah, I think it's like triggered by something you say, and then it gives a thumbs up
Why?
because it's creepy.
Yeah, but why? Like,
What
why
were
is
you
our
saying?
random
Was it
thumb-
like, were you asking
we were
for
just
conference?
talking and all of a sudden a thumbs up appeared on the screen.
Was it Zoom? It was some kind of program we were using.
We were either on Zoom or WhatsApp or,
Google,
something, but
Google,
it doesn't
I don't
matter.
know.
A thumbs up showed up in the middle of our conversation.
Nobody asked you.
Yeah, like and it happened to me again when I was talking to somebody else on the phone in Greece on Messenger.
Yeah.
A thumbs up showed up, and I'm like, why?
No, I remember when we were on, you were like, who is that? Who's this? Somebody else
Well,
on
it
this
made
call?
me feel
She
like we're
freaked out.
like, are we being watched? Like, what is this?
Yes, let
I'm
me
very,
answer you. Yes, we are.
I
We're being
know.
listened to. We're being, watching, of course, because there's cameras everywhere that we don't even
We're
know.
surrounded by millennials who think that we're just like they're just
Crazy.
think we're
They're
crazy.
like, yeah.
There's a couple times you guys say things and I'm like, calm down.
We need you to bring us. Well, that's why we have you here, Christina, so you could just like keep us informed.
I can't even remember what it was. I was like, oh my God, just stop it.
I'm in between. I'm not like her. I'm not
probably
quite
the worst of all three
there,
of us.
yes.
Yeah.
But it was really eye opening just seeing it and then the circle going around. I'm like, why are you listening to us? And then
You asked it. You verbally.
I'm like,
said
why
it?
are you listening to me? And then,
Did it answer you?
It didn't answer me, but then I started like looking in my phone like to turn it off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's nothing. I don't even know what I have on to make that.
There is
stop.
somebody told me there is something you can do, but then I just lost interest.
That's not you at all. Most of the time I'm like, are you even listening? Yeah, like there's a blank stare. I'm like, what's happening right now?
You're like, I hate that my phone is always listening to me. And then someone's explaining to you and you're just...
Yeah, we should have our phones off. It's funny. I have a friend who lives in my neighborhood. Every time she comes over to my house.
Your neighborhood?
My neighborhood, yes, and she'll start whispering when she starts talking to me, and she'll start whispering, and then she'll look at her phone and she'll turn her phone off.
I know who this friend is. I love it.
Every single time I'm like, why are you whispering? There's nobody else here, and then she looks at her phone.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not the only one.
No,
they're all listening.
I think we should poll on this one and see what our listeners think, if anybody else feels that way.
My sister literally, every time she logs into Facebook, she logs right out. Like she just doesn't close the app. Like, you know,
I actually deleted my Facebook app for a while, and I pulled off my birthday.
And then you're like, why did nobody say happy birthday?
Because I removed it. I removed it. I removed my birth date because apparently you should not have your birth date online.
Yeah,
like it's a bad idea to have your birth date online.
Well, it goes back to the fraud.
Yeah.
All the information online, they have your face, they have your birthday, they have everything they need.
But AI can now actually replicate you as a person, your voice, like everything about you.
Imagine more than one me out there.
No.
Doo-doo-doo.
Well,
but that's where we're going, right?
well,
like you see Elvis in movies,
Yeah.
or all these people who've been passed away for years, and they're making movies. It's a bit weird.
It seems like a violation.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that's why all the actors were on strike, because they were allowing AI to kind of come in and like use them. Like they wanted them to be able to use the actors through AI, and the actors were like, no, you can't do that.
Well, will it make certain jobs obsolete?
Well, I think let's not get too deep into this
'Cause we're
because,
gonna
like
get
we
into
said,
it
we
again.
have our guest who knows a lot more than we do about
Yes, I
AI,
know,
Amber. And yeah, we don't want to.
Well, for realtors too, she's going to help us how to. Like,
Yeah.
she definitely will help you learn how to streamline
we're
your
just
business.
speculating right now.
Yeah, which I need an education on it, to be
Yeah,
honest. So I'm looking forward to that.
it.
How we can
exactly.
use AI to our advantage. Yes, it's definitely
and about our
abuse.
anxieties about it. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Amber,
So stay tuned. Amber will be here.
Amber Mac.
Amber Mac, baby.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, what I wanted to talk to you about is, what are you finding? Like, are you finding the people out there right now, who are selling and buying, is there like some common thread? Are they more investors? Are they families? What are you finding?
What I have is first time buyers. A lot of them that basically have been in the market and now are back and kind of taken a break since November, and now they're like, let's get out there. I also have listings that they've been waiting, and now it's the time. Like they can't. Life is happening, and they need to get it out there. And then everybody else. It's just a lot of people that have been waiting and now see that there's activity. There's better listings coming out as well, like through the fall and through like all fall. Like yes, there was listings, but nothing was spectacular. Like there was maybe one off, or but it didn't have parking. So we're seeing a lot better homes come out that end users can see themselves in. That's what I'm noticing as well.
I would have thought, given the climate, that there would have been a lot more power of sales happening. And I actually went through all of the GTA yesterday for residential, and there was only 85 in all of the GTA.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all. And
how many listings are actually available?
85.
No, but like in all of the GTA, like, do you know how many were
now
actually?
you're on the spot.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't look that part up. But 85 out of all of the GTA is not that bad.
No,
I expect it to be a lot more. And then I did the commercial
Less than a
side as
percent,
well,
for sure.
and that was only 24. And that's including like buildings, multi-units, and industrial. So
people are hanging in there.
they're hanging on. Well,
Yeah.
and also when I was talking to a mortgage broker about this, because I actually called a couple different mortgage brokers to see if I could find anything. And they're like, if it's not worth it for the bank to sell, they're going to hang on to it.
Yeah.
It's just not, it doesn't make sense.
That makes sense.
And
too.
they just rent it out themselves, or
It's an asset. They'll just hang on to it until the
Yeah.
market gets better, because it doesn't make sense for them to lose money.
Oh,
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I was curious, because I know a lot of people are curious. They're like, oh, where's the power of sales? I want to get a deal. But that's kind of what's happening. So that's what I'm seeing from that side.
So, but if the banks are doing that, then they also see the market getting better.
Yeah.
If they think it's just going to keep crashing and burning, then they're going to unload now. But they obviously know more than we do.
Yeah, I think we'll
So
see
that's
that
a
we've
really
had
good
we've had 3 rate holds.
indication. Yeah.
The next rate announcement is March 6th.
So distracting.
I'm sorry. I
March
actually,
6th.
at least I turned it off.
At least it didn't say, Kim is calling. I'm like, now we all know.
March 6th, right?
March 6th is the next rate announcement. So I'd be curious to see if it's going to hold again or if they're actually going to go down. Because the prediction is to go down at least by 1% by the end of this year.
I think,
on a gradual decrease.
I think not until probably after the spring market.
Yeah, definitely.
Like closer to end of summer, maybe.
Everybody's going to be buying March break tickets, going away for March break. Those numbers are not going to be like, they're not, inflation's not going to, inflation's not going to move too much for them to. But the problem is that inflation is high because everybody's paying higher interest rates.
Right.
And that is like contributing to why inflation is so high.
Well, it's just this like basic catch-22.
It's all perception.
I don't think they're using the same sample all the time anyway. Like, it just doesn't seem to make sense. Every time we look at, the numbers for inflation, we should get Erin back on. She can explain it better.
But inflation, like, you can't say like, of course, lots of people are spending in the later half of the year. It's Christmas, it's holidays, people travel. Like, of course, the numbers are up, and that's literally what it was. It was house costs and travel were more. That's what brought up inflation.
Yeah, and then January comes and all the credit card bills come in, and nobody spends anymore. But that's typical. Yeah, that's just.
I mean, I'm no pro on this kind of stuff, like inflation and how it's calculated and all that kind of stuff. But it does seem to me, just like in common sense view, it just seems like the sample. Like, what are we actually even looking at? It just seems like such a small little snippet of the bigger picture. Like, can you really tell? Like, what are you really seeing from that? And is like the interest rates going up is really not helping the situation at all, like you said.
No.
That's what it seems like to me, but I don't know. Maybe there's a whole other thing that I don't see. But
I think there's so many variables
there's so many variables.
I'm actually nervous of the interest rates coming down because then
we're going to see a shit show happen.
And then we're going to see a shit show. That's literally what I am a little nervous about.
I actually like a balanced market. I prefer it because it gives us a chance to negotiate. It gives our buyers a chance to actually look at what they're buying versus being under that stress.
Yeah, and everybody that we've talked to is saying it's not going to ever go back down to what it was.
No.
Like the probably the lowest number we're going to see is maybe 3.5 to 4. Like 3.5 will be lucky, I think.
And that's
that'll
just
be
normal.
in a while. Yeah, it's going to be exactly.
But we are starting to see people take the variable again, which they haven't done for a while. Like, everybody was off variable because, the rates kept changing. But now it seems like because the rates are coming down, people are going back to the variable.
Yeah, at this point, it makes sense to take a variable because that's what's predicted.
For now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. So we're really good at selling houses and stuff. But now I've been hearing a lot of rich people buying bunkers. People have been buying bunkers for many, many years. So how do you feel about that? Like, how are you guys preparing for the end of the world?
I'm not going to lie. I have a shed. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I do stock up on stuff.
Yeah, but what's your shed going to do?
Not much.
Okay.
But it holds
supplies.
It holds supplies. Like, that was the idea.
You're
behind
letting
it.
me know. She's talking about bunkers and Mary's just like, I have a shed. and a sauna.
You could live in it. It's got lights in it.
Okay.
Yes,
It's
got
got electrical.
What happens if there's no electricity? When the end of the world is coming, we're not going to care. We're going to love your shed. We're going to love
my shed. And I know how to make heat like from nothing. So
can you rub wood together?
Use a flint. We should be learning the basics, honestly. Like, we depend way too much on electricity and like stuff that's given to us. Like, can people actually survive if these things go down?
True.
I mean, how many people know how? Like, do you
I
know how to
I don't
create
even have a
fire?
spare case
but
of water
what do
right
they
now.
know that we don't know? Why are they doing this? Any theories?
Doing what? Bunkers?
Christina?
Bunkers? Oh, well, I don't know. Like, I think people are just. Oh, I think
all
bunkers.
The wars?
Yeah, all the wars. I think a lot of people
lack of supplies.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, we've seen it before. Where
That is
even
true.
during COVID, look at what happened when people started fighting over toilet paper.
Yes.
But why do you want to be alive?
That
But
was
why
so
would you want
funny.
to be alive for that?
Okay, that's a fair question.
You know what I mean? Like, if the world is ending the way that they're preparing for it,
Yeah.
I don't want to be
Yeah,
help
peace
me.
out.
I don't want to be.
Should we do a Thelma and Louise?
Well, if you're gonna go down like in a good way.
Yeah.
Fun, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think about it like, do I really want to be like starting civilization again? Do I really want to be the one doing that?
I think everybody has a
Like
deep
Adam and
desire
Steve?
to live and to fight. Like
Off the land?
Well, whether you like it or not, when you're put in that situation, you're probably going to fight for it.
Very primal.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, my buddy always asks me, "Are you ready for the end of the world?" I'm like, "No, I'm gonna die with."
Well, I don't. Let's not go so morbid.
Well, but Christina, we have children, so we have to fight a little bit harder.
We do. Yeah, I'm all about fighting.
Okay, so I'm down to buy a bunker.
Okay, let's
and
do
I
it.
think
Well, I already have a container, so we can use that.
A container?
Yeah, a shipping container.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Now we're talking.
April's using it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So we just got to dig.
But a lot more people are buying these shipping containers.
One of our clients and friends has a bunker in their house. Remember?
Who? Really?
Well, I'm not going to say
No.
their name.
I know. I'm like.
so.
Yeah,
What do they have in this bunker?
Right now, it's just like it's a playroom. I wonder why what are they doing with their kids?
You know what? Yes, we had a property for sale, and I forgot about this. It was a safe room.
Yeah, it was a safe room.
It was a safe room, and it was like the door was, I don't even know how thick.
Yeah.
And they had internet in there. They had like
it's all set
secret
up.
rooms, and it was actually
It's
very
pretty cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me
It
of that
gave
movie.
me anxiety. It gave me anxiety.
You don't want to be trapped in there.
I don't think I could live in a bunker. I would probably pass out.
Yeah. What was that movie? There was a movie recently that
There was
on
one, yeah.
Netflix
Like with women?
with Julia Roberts.
Leave the World Behind.
Leave the World
Oh,
Behind.
that was such a weird movie.
But I mean, I think the
I'm
idea
not
was
interested.
to make you think.
Well, the humming.
I think
Was the humming.
I think we're
the
all
humming,
thinking.
They talked about that.
But that actually happened.
That happened in Cuba.
Yes.
What?
That loud noise. I
That
don't
everybody
remember
was
what the
worried
reason.
about. Like they were just playing this humming noise that everybody
Who?
was hearing.
Chris, you know about this.
Yeah, I think they thought it was like, I don't know whether it was like the Russians or like the government.
Oh,
but
like
they,
using
They
sound?
used
Yeah.
sound waves basically to go out and just made everyone feeling sick. And like,
Yeah, just to
Mhm.
knock people out. Yeah.
This is so messed up.
But I mean,
Wow.
Yeah, we're going down a dark road here. we're talking about real estate still. Yeah. See, this is why we call it the real agent, because it's not just about real estate.
But all this stuff that has come up, right? That all this stuff, all these things that we're thinking about now that we never thought about before,
Yeah.
didn't even think was possible. Like, would you have ever dreamt that we would be here today in like everything that's been happening?
No, but we're not the first ones, right?
But
Like
what-
wars happened before. We're just living it a different way.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's the war, and there's so many other things that are happening. It's not like, yes, wars have happened for sure, but it's been such a like combination of diseases
things.
and
feels busy,
polarization and
But technology, I think, is
technology,
put us-
everything. It's just
Yeah.
like such a weird time. But if you really think about it, where does it bring you to? The only thing we have control over is ourselves.
yeah.
And just vibing high, our own frequency, how we affect others around us, lifting each other up. We just have to be solid, and we just have to stand up for each other and for ourselves and, live the best life that we can.
That's actually what we noticed. We were at a client's house yesterday, and she doesn't know us from Adam. It was a
Yeah.
sign call, and pretty much gave us the key to her. It was another estate that she gave us the key. Like we were there for maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
But she's like, I like your vibe.
yeah.
That was it. It was
I think people
literally-
are starting to really see what's important.
Yeah.
And the consciousness has definitely increased, even for myself before all this happened, like 3-4 years ago, I think I was asleep. I had no idea what was possible. And I thought I was pretty aware. But now it's just like a whole other ballgame. Like anything is possible, right?
Yeah.
So when you feel that way, then it just really makes you focus on your life and the people in it and the important things and the connections
limit
that you
yourself.
have.
And learning to be
Yeah.
unattached. Learning to be unattached to an outcome.
Yeah,
That's another
unattached to an outcome for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I was I was actually talking about us yesterday, and I was saying, I was like, they're so unattached to what someone, like the outcome of things, that it just, they just keep it moving. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I do that already. I try not to be
Like us,
attached.
you
Yeah,
mean?
you
Yeah.
too. I try not to be attached.
Mhm.
I just want to do it even more. Like just
Yeah.
like
It's practice, though. Honestly, that's one thing I can say, because for me, it has been a practice. Like
Mhm.
coming from lots of different types of trauma, you almost have to learn to deconstruct your original beliefs and rebuild. But it's slow. You can't go from one to the other overnight. It doesn't work.
No.
Yeah. you don't know what you don't know,
Yeah.
right? And having the right people around you, kind of like a mirror.
Yeah.
Like we're mirrors to each other. You know, we
Good
show
and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all good, you know,
Yeah.
because I don't want to live in a fantasy. I want to be here, present now, right?
Yeah.
I want to improve and grow. And I'm not just doing that for myself. I want to do that for you guys and for my kids and for anybody that I come into contact to. I want to leave people feeling better. I want to leave people feeling inspired, motivated. If I can give one thing to one person every day, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really just shifting your focus and your perspective.
And also surrounding yourself with the right people. I think that's huge because one thing I noticed is if you're surrounding yourself with negativity on some level, it's just going to bring you down. Like you just don't want to go there anymore. I've learned that. Like I've learned
and you get to a point where you don't have to try, you just feel it.
Yeah.
You just can feel like these people are just not in my frequency. And it's okay. There's no judgment. We're all in different places at different times. And sometimes I'm in a bad frequency, you know? Sometimes I'm in a frantic frequency like I was today when I walked in. But
it's also giving
we're
the
human.
space.
It's a human experience.
Yeah.
And like you said, giving space
Yeah.
and holding that space for the person and not trying to change it.
Or
right?
judge.
Or judge it.
Right? Like, because I mean, we've all seen people in different places in their lives, and it's like, okay, you're here, and that's okay.
And I've been here.
Yeah.
And I'll probably be here again. And
Totally
hopefully
fine.
I have somebody be like, oh, I see that you're here, and that's okay. But let's go
And
do
giving
something
yourself
fun.
grace that you're in that spot as well.
100%.
Because I think the hardest part sometimes when you find yourself in a low spot is staying low for longer than you need to because you're in that low spot. It's
Yeah.
almost like that conundrum, like, oh, I'm here again. Oh, I wish I wasn't, and trying to find.
That's what it happens a lot with realtors
Yeah.
in general,
much,
right?
yeah.
Like how many realtors have you talked to that go through that roller coaster of the ups and downs and peaks and valleys? Like,
Yeah,
like,
when you're coming from your ego, you're always in competition. But like we said, collaboration is what keeps you kind of on the same path or on the more positive, more inspiring path, right?
Yeah.
We're not here to be against each other. We're here to learn and grow and do our best.
Yeah, and work
know?
together. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to try and take somebody out or be,
No.
you know,
That's just
what's the
living in
word I'm looking
lack.
for? Yeah, like you don't want to try and hurt somebody for your gain.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
exactly.
mean? And how many times have we seen people try and do that and it never works?
It doesn't.
It just doesn't work.
Like in the long run, they end up
Yeah.
working harder. They end up having to struggle more. Sometimes things seem harder in the moment, but if you have integrity and your intentions are good and you're doing your best, things will always come back to you.
Yeah.
You know? It's
Agreed.
not like we don't have to steal or take or force, right? I just want to live in flow. That doesn't mean just being like passive. I'm still
No,
going
I
to be
think that's the
my
confusion that some
powerful
people
self.
make.
Yeah, but I'm going to allow what is for me and what isn't for me to just exist and not attach to that.
Yeah, but you can still be proactive and you can still be motivated. It doesn't mean that you're not interested in doing things just because you're living in flow. And I think people get
Yeah.
confused by that when you say it. It's like, no,
Exactly.
you're still very much
control.
goal-oriented and in
Yeah.
control, exactly. But
But you're more aware of what's aligned with you.
exactly.
And that matters.
And back to the part where you're just not attached to the outcome. It's like, okay, I'm not going to die if this doesn't happen.
No.
It may just happen a different way than I expect.
And sometimes
Or if
the
it doesn't
process.
happen, what else is going to happen for you?
Exactly.
Yes, that's
What is
beautiful.
what are you making space for?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the other
And
thing.
enjoying the process, enjoying the whole experience and not like
The journey.
when I get here, I'll be happy. No, you have to be happy and then you'll
Along
get
for the
there.
ride, yeah.
But
You'll
how
get to
often-
wherever you got to be.
How often do you get there and you're like,
This
oh,
is
it's
it?
a little bit anticlimactic? Kind of thought when I
Now
bought that
what?
house and when I made that money and I got that award that all of a sudden I would be happy. That's not it.
No,
No.
because then you just got to do it all over again.
Well, and
you're
then,
just-
yeah,
this
exactly.
is
Like
the
that's
hamster
not,
wheel.
it's the journey.
Yeah.
I think people have to learn to be a part and be present of the journey. And then whether they get that award, whether like whatever, it's part of it. You just enjoy all of it. It's not like that destination is going to be the be all end all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what I learned is my ego was always withholding. So it was not allowing me to fully connect to others. And when I finally started to see that and change that, I realized how much joy and beauty there was with just connecting with another human being. And it could be the most simple thing. It could be just like today, I was at the gym and after my class, somebody said something to me and I broke down in tears. I was just had a rough morning. I had a pretty serious phone call, and three women that I've seen in my classes before just came over, gave me a hug, sat with me, and we connected in a way because I was vulnerable. They always see me as this powerhouse, getting through the workout, goofing around, laughing, dancing around. But in this moment, I was just in a very vulnerable space and I allowed it to happen. And they were able to receive that. And just having that experience actually put me in a better space.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. We don't have to hide. We can just be who we are.
I never realized that the gym would do that for you until I had a similar, even so random, but this morning I had a...
Really?
I didn't realize that people would notice my mood.
Interesting.
Because today I went, I was like, my glucose was high. I was like dragging butt to go, but I was like, I gotta go. You gotta wear a wedding dress in July. Like, you get your ass there. And I was just off. And like, they were just like, what's up with you today? I was like, oh, I just didn't want to be here today. And they're just like, do what you can, do what you can. And I never knew that would come out of the gym.
Yeah.
And
it's a sense of community, right?
I felt really good about that this morning.
People see you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Your energy does affect other people. We were just talking about this,
yeah.
how
Mm-hmm.
what you're putting off,
Mm-hmm.
what that could do to somebody else.
Mhm.
Whether like we would often blame other people for their reactions to
Yes.
us, not realizing it was our reaction that may have or our energy that may have caused
Yes.
that reaction.
It's very powerful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you might think, oh, that person's such a jerk, but it's probably them reacting to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So what we were talking about, I'm consciously going into most situations where I'm meeting people and just breathing, being like checking in with myself. How are you feeling? Let that go. What are you holding? And just coming into a space with just a clear energetic level, I guess, or
Mhm.
space, and just experiencing the person in that moment for whatever is happening and not allowing all the other thoughts and things and noise.
And judgment.
Yeah. And people that I've known for many, many years are different.
Yeah.
When I have that kind of energy, when I go into the situation, they are being different. They're being more open. They're being more vulnerable. The connection is deeper. It's interesting. And
Yeah.
it's really just a small shift. It's not like I did anything major, but it makes a huge difference.
It's awareness.
And if you look at that, you can really put that in any part of your life. It does.
Yeah.
It could be business. It could be personal. It could be friends. It could be so many things.
yeah.
We have a lot of power. We
Yeah.
have to use it.
And
Well,
Energy
it's,
is
it's
tons of
paying
power.
attention.
Yeah,
You know, once you're aware, it
Mhm.
changes everything.
absolutely.
We
And
made
now
it.
that,
we made
and
it.
now that Pluto's out of Cancer, I'm just feeling
Ooh,
like...
Check you,
And Capricorn.
Christina.
And Capricorn.
I keep
I'm
sending-
like, the sun has come out, even though it hasn't. It feels like it has.
I feel like I've shedded something
Yeah.
a little bit. I
Mm,
feel
I
a
like
little,
that.
I don't know if it's given me permission to feel that way. I don't know, but it's just
That could be a
feeling-
placebo. Who knows?
yeah,
But
I'm taking it.
yeah,
it
take
doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't
It's
even
just
matter.
whatever you believe. That's your reality.
Exactly.
Maybe it's because you're hanging out with us so much.
I think so too.
You
I
like
think
how
so.
I made it about us?
I know.
That's perfect.
I love it. I love
Well,
it.
thanks guys for tuning in on another week of the Real Agent Podcast. We'll see you next Thursday. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.